Hi, my name is Sydney Notman, and I did my research project over Where I Was From by Joan Didion. Didion was born December 5th in 1934 in Sacramento, California. She's an American writer and awarded novelist, and she's known for her storyteller way of writing. A lot of her pieces are political, and they focus on the psychology um, of the mindset of people at that time in her stories. Some of her notable works include The Playwright A Star is Born, Play It As It Lays, Slouching Towards Bethlehem, Blue Nights, Run River, The Year of Magical Thinking, and of course, Where I Was From. In Didion's book, Where Was I From?, she tries to find the point of California, and in it she talks about how her family first came to California, and she uses their personal experiences to paint the picture of how California has evolved over the years. So Didion starts off her book by talking about her family's journey to California, and she describes the women at this point in time as pragmatic, resourceful, and resilient. They could shoot, they could handle stock, they would repair clothes. They learned how to make shoes from Indians, like uh, moccasins. And so this is important because they just were very strong and tough and learned how to survive during this really hard time. Her family had encountered a lot of different people along the way who were also traveling to California, or at least like traveling west. A lot of the hardships that they faced, besides food and shelter, was sickness. For example, people would get sick along the way, and they would have to bury them on the route. They couldn't take them with them because they weren't, you know, in their home yet. They were still on their way to California, and a lot of those graves ended up being unmarked. Didion originally described the people who came to California as adventurous, restless, and daring. She later looked back at this and realized that it wasn't necessarily accurate. A lot of Californians like to believe that that they are independent and they're self-made, that they didn't need any help at all, that they did it all on their own, when in fact a lot of their success came from government handouts and support. And this is especially true in the case of the construction of the railroad. The railroad was a massive change to the Californian landscape. During construction, it created job opportunities, market, wealth, and transportation for California and the entire country. It was funded through a federal cash subsidy and a federal land grant. And it was great while it was being constructed because, like I said, it created a lot of job opportunities for all the people that were coming to California. The issue is that once it was finished, because it did open itself up to the rest of the world, or at least to the rest of the country, it was California was then having to compete with other states with other markets, not just within its own boundaries. And so that became an issue later on with trying to compete with the rest of the country. Didion also discusses the change California underwent by just adding water. In the 1860s, the San Joaquin Valley was desolate and barren. She gave stories about what it was like when her family came and saw it at that time. And so dams, water pumps, aqueducts, and reservoirs were manufactured or utilized to bring water into the valley. And this was paid for through taxpayer investment that cost $27 million, and $11 million of that went to the Southern Pacific Land Company, which is the railroad. And so with that, the valley's environment completely changed, and now it's known as the nation's garden. Later on in the book, Didion starts to address some of the major misconceptions of what shaped California. Initially, she, like most Californians, saw the changes to be a positive. Californians see the freeway system, the University of California, Silicon Valley, the rearrangement of the water, the famous package, the promise that California was committed to educating the middle class. All of this was seen only for their benefits, and the hardships were ignored and glossed over. She explained that California's population and industrialization grew too big and too fast, and this is why there are so many confusions. So the freeways encouraged sprawl, the aerospace industry tanked and had gone away, leaving many people unemployed. The University of California had lost faculty and classrooms due to budget cuts, and most of the state was still short on water. The theme of change and growth is prevalent throughout where I was from. This novel is a memoir of Joan Didion in some sorts, but it's also a detailed description of her elevation on California's mindset. With her stories, you're able to connect emotionally and intellectually with her characters, the events going on in the book, and you really draw a clear picture of what California has been through over the years. Didion reminisces on early childhood memories, on stories of her family's trek westward, on life as a young adult, and on what it was like to see these changes firsthand.